Alright, testing. Is this thing on? Well, hello. This is going to be a short video for my own personal use so that I can remind myself how to stitch together and repair hunting apparel in a way that's very, very tough. It's overkill tough, and it's never ever going to unravel. It's going to be impossible for it to unravel. I've got a helper here, and I've noticed that all the popular YouTube videos have somebody that's talking in an English accent, so that's what I'm doing as well. There's my helpers, and this is going to be a real short video showing you how it's done, and I have no way of knowing whether this video is going to show up properly or not, because I'm using my hunting GoPro setup. It's on my app there, and I'm gonna throw it on my head and hope that the video shows up. I'm gonna tilt my head down and hopefully it'll show up. So first, I've got this extra strong waxed thread for sewing leather. You see how wide it is? It's almost like waxed dental floss. I've got a big ass needle I got from a upholstery repair kit, and I have very, very shaky hands, but even I can do this. I'm going to take a length about as long as both my arms are wide. I'm going to cut the thread like so. I'm going to take the thread, double it, tie a knot in the ends like so. Right, trim the excess, move the needle down so it's even, and you see what I'm repairing is my worn out 1970s hunting vests from my dad's. Lots of holes in the pockets, so I'm putting new material on the inside of the pockets. You can see some of the existing stitching there. Right, you can see I've got this material pinned in place. I've got this mostly done. You see how strong, it's almost like rope, these stitches on the back side, and that's what I'm going to show you how to do. So we're going to start where the stitch stopped, right here, push it through. Don't need a thimble at the moment. Pull it not quite all the way through, just a very small stitch for this first one. Very small stitch for this first one, because we're just going to create an anchor with that end of the thread. Now we're going to go through the loop of the thread. We're going to cinch it down, and then we're going to do the knotting move that we do for every single stitch. So we've got a loop there, we've got one stitch, we're going to go underneath that stitch once, and another time, twice. Oh, I've pulled out a pin. Stick that there. So we loop once, twice, and then a third time. This is for every stitch now. Third time, and we're going to go through that loop. So we're going to make a knot. So essentially, this is why it's so strong. It's why it's so much overkill. Every single stitch is knotted. So you see, each and every one of these stitches, inevitably I'm going to be in the field and the thorns are going to rip these stitches out. It's going to catch on something and it's going to rip it out, and it's going to break a stitch. Well, it's only going to break that one stitch. That's it. It's not going to unravel. I want to pull this pin out here. So now we're going to proceed we want our next stitch to go there. We look at the other side, see where that stitch went. Oh, that last stitch I made, it's a little ugly. Well, that looks shitty. You're going to go on the other side, you're going to go back through the hole from the previous stitch. And then what you're going to do, well, that looks ugly. What you're going to do on the back side, I'm going to ignore this ugly thing, and I'm going to go under the previous stitch that's not shitty once, twice, and 3 times, and then through that loop you made. Through that loop, so you've made a knot. And that's the stitch you just made with a knot on the back side. So next stitch, we're just going to continue here. We've come through. We go back through the hole of the previous stitch. Right, you want to pull it tight. But if you pull it tight, that's going to cinch up the fabric, so you stretch it out so it's the correct tension. And then you go under that stitch once, twice, 3 times, and then back through the hole you just made to form a knot. That's a very knotty stitch indeed. Make another stitch, back through to the other side, into the hole of the previous stitch, like so, and then you go once, twice, 3 times a lady, 3 times a lady, and through the loop to make a knot. Snug it down, but not so snug that it wrinkles the material. And another stitch. We see where that stitch winds up on the other side. Back through the hole of the previous stitch. Coming through, cinch it down, stretch it out. Once, twice, 3 times a lady. Knot it up. And another stitch here. Back through the hole of the previous stitch. Bring the needle through. Don't fuck it up. Cinch it up. Stretch it out. Once. Twice. 3 times a lady. Through the loop to knot it up. Knotty stitch. Another stitch. And a stitch like this, you can't pay somebody to do this kind of stitching. You can't get them to do it. Why would I do that? It's a waste of time. You're going to pay $400,000 to repair this 1970s hunting vest that's not worth a plug nickel to nobody else. but you want to keep hunting with it because it's your dad's. But you can't have your shotgun shells falling out of your pockets all the goddamn time. I had a whole quail fall out of a hole in the pocket. A whole quail. A day I shot 6, I only came home with 5. Because a whole quail came out of my inside pocket. I didn't use my game bag. Wasn't wearing it at the time. I used the big inside pouch pockets, what I'm fixing right now. In fact, it's probably this hole right here that a whole quail came through. So we're almost done. We're almost done. We're going to give it another stitch. I've got so much left to do on this hunting vest. The elastic webbing.
Welcome to the menus and actions.
I don't need to watch that right now. Thank you very much. The webbing that holds in the shotgun shells is all worn out. I need to replace that webbing. I want to see about doing that. Maybe I'll make another YouTube video for that. Or maybe I won't. I need to replace the zippers. The zippers are a real piece of shit. They're missing teeth. They haven't worked in many, many years. You can see this zipper missing teeth. Quite shitty. Another stitch. See, I cinched that previous one up a bit and it's bunched up my material. Don't want to do that. Back through to the other side. Got a bit of the material when I looped under that thread this time. That's fine, that just locks it in place. Like I said, this is not going nowhere lately. And I'm using old blue jeans for my material, so that should be tough. Should last longer than the material of the vest, I hope. And if you wanted to get real finicky, you could get your stitches in a straight line. Clearly I don't give a fuck about that. I just want it to be strong. I want it to last forever. I intend to wear this hunting vest until I die. 43 right now. Hopefully I got a few hunting seasons left in me. I need it to work. I got sick of using duct tape and safety pins, and then it just wears out around them. So I finally got off my ass and started to stitch it up. Watched enough videos and figured out enough on my own to get it fixed up proper, figure out the right stitch. I wanted to make this video so I don't have to try and remember, and I don't have to write it down. I can just look at this and say, hey, that's how I stitched it up. Another useful stitch I used for stitching 2 leather straps together, and I found another video for this which I'll link to in my description, called the bridle stitch, for stitching 2 pieces of leather together. You use 1 piece of thread with a needle on each end, and you go back and forth and you create loops and you knot on the back of the loop just like this. That's how I got the idea for this, is watching that bridle stitch video. But I'll link to that. So all credit for that English chap that put that together. We're getting to the end here. Another stitch. Go roughly back through the same hole. Hopefully your hands don't shake like mine. And a 1. And a 2, and a 3, go through the loop to knot it And we've got just one stitch left to be done. Coming through to this side and back through the previous hole. Same procedure. And we're going to go once, twice, 3 times a lady. Knot it through on the other side. And we've got a knot, so it's a good place to stop at every stitch. We're going to snip it off. And now we see on this side, I've got this piece of material I've stitched to death. Heavy duty. And then that's what it looks like on the other side. So one thing I'm going to do is this shit right here is just going to hang up and get caught on stuff and tear. So I'm going to throw the same kind of stitch, but I'm going to throw stitches around and around right here. So I'm going to take my thread. Where the fuck did it go? There it is. It's not very much thread, but I'm going to tie it off and use what I've got here. Accent seems to be freely flowing between Englishman and Australian, with a little hint of New Zealand every once in a while. I like to just let it go. Let it flow freely. Let it go. So I'm going to just go around and around like I've done here. Just stitch it down. But we're going to use the same... Oh, we're going to come in from the other side. So all the big ugly knots are on the other side. So just there. Don't pull it quite all the way. And then where we're going to stitch it down to the new material. Come in here. Well, horse titties, we have gone through something we don't want to go through. I want to see if I can back this out. Horse titties. Can I get that needle back through there? There we go. So we went through there. We're going to anchor it down. Go through the loop. Cinch it up. Stretch it out. And then we're going to go once. Twice. 3 times for the knot. So now we're anchored. We're going to come in through the back side and just feel our way. We're just going to go around this hole. There's another one. We're going to go back down through the middle. He drank his first strong liquor then to calm his shaking hand, and tried to tell himself at last he had become a man. A dusty poke at his side began to laugh him down, but his mother's words echoed again. Don't take your guns to town, son. Leave your guns at home, Bill. Don't take your guns to town. And you know that song is true. It rings true because when you have essential trimmer, it causes your hands to shake. One effective means of relieving that trimmer is drinking alcoholic beverages. That's literally true. Katharine Hepburn had essential trimmer, and she was quite a drinker, in part because of it. And once she was on the Tonight Show with Johnny Carson, and she was sloshing drunk. And that's why, because she had essential trimmer and she drank to alleviate the symptoms. I don't drink, so my hands shake. That's the way it is. Once, twice, ugly loop. Come on, ugly loop. There we go. And now I'm being nudged by a bird dog. Alright. Still going around in a circle. Hello, bird dog. Hello, bird dog. I see you nudging me. You're really working me over, bird dog. Once, twice, 3 times. Not the loop. And I've run out of thread, so I'm just going to cut it and get more threads. And I think I've accomplished what I meant to accomplish with this video. So I'm going to let you take a look at these fine bird dogs, and I'm going to bid you adieu. Bob's your uncle, Fanny's your aunt.